Hello folks, this is Lewis speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is footage taken from a double-up game that I'm playing together with Headwinder. However, it's a little bit different. This footage is taken from Headwinder's point of view. I've done this a number of times before where I was in a double-up game with one of our friends here, and their perspective of the game just ended up being more interesting than my perspective on the game. So we're going to be watching Headwinder's game here. And he's going to end up playing a Crystal Gambit team composition. I've only tried this in one or two games so far this set. I haven't really had a game where I was able to put it together and have it work out well. In this game, though, Headwinder was able to play Crystal Gambit, and it actually ended up working pretty well in the end. So we're going to look at one of these traits I haven't really talked much about, Crystal Gambit. One of the reasons why we thought one of us might be able to play Crystal Gambit in this game is Headwinder is going to get a Swain drop from the very first minion round. And I also get a Swain drop from the very first minion round. Literally, we both had Swains drop. So I'm actually going to send that over to Headwinder right away. So he's actually going to have 2 out of 3 Swains on the first minion round of the game. And then he also had a Syndra here as well. So we were thinking, you know, he has a setup that looks like it's going to be pretty conducive to playing it. I am going to end up playing Kale in this game because I just ended up hitting a big run of Kales at the start of the game. And although I was quite happy with how I built the board, I've done a number of Kale videos here. And then look at this, a Janna pops up as well. So Headwinder already has 3 Crystal Gambit units. And we haven't even finished the minion round yet. He can actually put Crystal Gambit in on this round, 1-4, which is not something that you're typically supposed to be able to do. You're not supposed to be able to get Crystal Gambit in this early in the game. I mean, I guess you can if you hit the, there's a 1 cost, 2 costs, a 3 cost, a 4 cost, and a 5 cost. I guess if you hit both of the 2 costs, you might be able to get it in relatively early. But then this first augment is really going to cause things to get kind of wacky. And that's because we know we're going to have triple prismatic augments in this lobby. There's going to be, we knew that because we had, I think it's the Gwen encounter. We knew we were going to have prismatic here. So Headwinder's going to look at the different options. It's definitely not Sniper Crown. It might be at what cost? That's kind of a tempo one. He could always try to fish for emblems with Wandering Trainer here. And, or does he take at what cost? I didn't think he took this one. Caretaker's Chosen. I actually ended up taking Caretaker's Chosen. He takes Expect Unexpectedness, which gives you some very random things. So he's going to roll the dice, and then what is he going to get? I don't know exactly what number he rolled, but boom, he gets double 4 costs, and he gets an Ash. And then look, in his store, he has a Vi. He has 5 Crystal Gambit units on his board already. Yeah, he has 5 Crystal Gambit units on his board immediately here. And then he's going to have to look at these different options. He's going to take the, obviously he's going to put his power up on Ash. And he's going to make it so Ash gets stacking critical strike chance. And he will make the Striker's Flail, the new guard breaker, specifically because he's getting, that synergizes super well with stacking attack speed, or stacking crit chance on Ash. So Headwinder has this utterly bizarre board where he already has 5 of the 6 Crystal Gambit units. The only one that he's missing right now is he's missing Zyra, who is the 5 cost. Now he's not going to get that in, but he has every single other Crystal Gambit unit already. So as soon as he gets to level 5, he can play 5 Crystal Gambit, which is just utterly bizarre. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what this trait does. He hits another Vi here. That's ridiculous. He actually has Swain pair, Vi pair, Janna pair, and then he has a Syndra. And I actually could have sent him a Syndra as well, but he said he did not want that. So he has pairs of all of the Crystal Gambit units except Ash here. Anyway, let's cover what this trait does. This is the economic trait here in set 15. There's always at least one econ trait in every set. And in this set, it turns out it's Crystal Gambit. It is essentially a mixture together of 2 traits from past sets. The first one, and the one that it's probably most similar to, is the Heartsteel trait from set 10, the music set. It works very similarly. When you put Crystal Gambit trait in, you will start stacking up, I don't know what these are called. They were called hearts for Heartsteel. I don't know what these are called on Crystal Gambit. Crystals, they're probably called. But you'll start stacking these up, and you get crystals for killing enemy units, and you also get them for losing rounds. If you, at the start of the game, you will get a certain amount of them for losing rounds. The deeper you get in the game, the more, I guess they're crystals. I don't even know if that's the official name, but I think that they're crystals. The deeper you get in the game, the more you will get from losing rounds. and the more you will get for getting kills as well. Actually, no, I don't think you get more for getting kills. I think you only get more. Maybe you do get more for getting kills. I can't remember. But the deeper you get in the game, the more you will get from losing. So one way to play this trait is you can just play it as a straight loss streak, like the old fortune trait, or like, what was one of the other sets? What was it? Piltover in set 9. You can just play this as lose 10 rounds in a row, cash out, and get some huge benefit. That is one way you can play the trait, and that is the way that some people will look to play this one. But you don't have to play it that way, because every 3 rounds you'll get a chance to either cash out or double down. Again, very similar to how Heartsteel worked back when Heartsteel was around in set 10. You'll get a chance to either double down or cash out. And you can just take the cash outs. In particular, in double up mode, it's a little tricky to keep doubling down, because if you win a round after doubling down, you lose half of your stacks and immediately cash out. Again, that's the same way that Heartsteel worked back in back in set 10. So you can play it as a loss streaking trait. You can also play it as kind of a tempo trait where you just keep cashing out every 3 rounds. And after every 3 rounds, you just get like a minor benefit. But you get more stacks for killing units, and you also get more stacks if you lose rounds. Now, that does not go up as you play deeper into the trait, and that's one of the differences between Crystal Gambit and Heartsteel. Heartsteel, if you went from Heartsteel 3 to Heartsteel 5, you would get more hearts for losing rounds. Crystal Gambit, you do not get more stacks for losing rounds at Crystal Gambit 5. What Crystal Gambit 5 does is it adds a new function that wasn't there before. And let's see, Headwinder is going to open up the chest. He said he didn't want to double down because we were playing double up mode, and he wasn't convinced that he'd be able to reliably loss streak, because I might come over to his board and reinforce him. So anyway, he is just going to take the cash out, and I think he got a couple gold. You don't really get much for... I think he only had like 40 stacks. You don't really get much if you cash out at 40 stacks. I think he just got a couple gold there. Anyway, so as I said, Crystal Gambit 5 does not increase the amount of stacks you get when you lose rounds, or does not increase the amount of stacks you get when you kill things. What it does is it adds a new functionality to Crystal Gambit. It essentially brings back, from set 13, brings back Family 5 from set 13. Yeah, Family was the reroll trait where you rerolled for like Powder and Vander and Violet. Most of the time, you would never be able to get up to Family 5 because that required finding double emblems, and that was pretty rare. But if you did manage to get up to Family 5, you would get this ability. And by the way, it's a good thing he didn't double down because he immediately won the next round. If you did get up to Family 5, though, you would start getting this benefit where you would get like a heist counter, and after you killed a certain amount of units, you would cash out and get additional benefits. And that's exactly what Crystal Gambit does as well. Once you get up to Crystal Gambit 5, you get like a counter for number of kills. When you stack up that many kills, you will cash out and get a reward, and then it rolls a new set number of kills you have to get. And then the process just repeats over and over and over again. So if you play Crystal Gambit 5 for a long time, as long as you're killing things on the enemy board, you're going to keep getting loot drops repeatedly. You have to highlight the number to see what the kill counter is. So I don't know what that is. I believe it can be a number anywhere from, I think it starts at like 10 and can go up to like 21. And the higher the kill count number is, the better the rewards are. But getting Crystal Gambit 5 in early is very strong because you basically just start farming lots and lots and lots of loot. Of course, you do have to kill enemy units. If you kill nothing on the enemy board, then it doesn't do anything. So it's kind of interesting because Crystal Gambit 3 is often, and like on this round, Headwinder didn't kill anything because he just spent the whole round hitting a 3-star cannon. That person took Build a Bud, which gave them a 3-star cannon to start the game. But anyway, he's just, he didn't kill anything there, so he didn't get any benefit. But overall, if you can get Crystal Gambit 5 in early, you can generally just start stacking up that kill counter. Anyway, I am going to send a Janna there. One of the trademarks of this game is I barely sent Headwinder anything this whole game. I sent him the early Swain, and I sent him that Janna, but I didn't send him a whole lot as the game went on. All right, he's going to take a different one. He takes Midas Touch here, I think, attacks and abilities execute. Kills have a 25% chance to drop gold. Or does he take this? He took the armor shred one. Damage, shreds, and sunders. That one does more, gives you more damage, but otherwise is not as strong. And hey, that's a pretty good drop there. He got another Vi, and also got an Udyr, which is going to be the next unit in. Udyr's really good for this board because he's going to put Duelist trait in for Ash. And there's another Kale for me. Also going to roll the dice again and get some other benefit here. And it looks like he got a gold drop and double lesser champion duplicate. Okay, the lesser champion duplicator's not terribly useful, but the gold is quite nice. Now we can put the Udyr on the board. That puts Juggernaut trait in with Vi and Duelist trait in for Ash. So the Ash definitely gets stronger. One problem, though, is it's going to take a very, very long time to get Ash 2-star because Ash is a 4-cost. Now here, Headwinder has the chance to make Last Whisper, which is a very good Ash item. The problem is he just gave Ash a power-up that already causes Ash to armor shred, so you don't really need a Last Whisper, especially all that much, if you already have given Ash armor shred capability there. So that may be part of the reason why he chooses to put the glove on the Swain instead for, was that a Steadfast Heart that I think he made? I have to double check there. But anyway, ended up building out the Swain for the front line instead. And it looks like this round's going reasonably well. Headwinder's going, or he was going to win the round, but gets reinforced on. I'm going to try to come over here. Again, remember, every time he I couldn't get over there in time. Remember, every time he gets kills, he's stacking up that Crystal Gambit 5 kill counter. I wish we could see what it is, but this is pre-recorded footage. And it looks like Headwinder's already trying to set what his team is going to be here. He mostly just wants to play a bunch of 4 and 5 cost units. All right, remember, every 3 rounds, he's going to be able to cash out again. And now we have our second augment, which is going to be Prismatic. We know all of them are going to be Prismatic in this lobby. The Belt Overflow actually looks pretty good here. Is that what Headwinder took? I do not remember what he took in this game. And there's more Kales. He's finding a lot of Kales for me, so that's nice. So this is going to let him go ahead and do a Warmogs for the Swain. And, okay, he's just going to do the double Warmogs. That gives you a lot of combat power up front. And then he still has another belt left over as well. So that Swain is like super duper tanky right now. But yeah, he's going to be continuing to stack up more kills every time that every round he's going to be killing at least a few units. So we should see that first Crystal Gambit 5 cash out relatively soon. And then in addition to that, Crystal Gambit 3 means every 3 rounds he either needs to cash out or double down. So he's kind of getting double loot drops here. And it's probably better for Headwinder if he just wins rounds because he'll get the crystal stacks on the left-hand side for killing things. And then he'll also be stacking up the Crystal Gambit 5 kills by killing enemy units. So it's probably better if he just wins rounds as opposed to losing rounds. He can't count on like a big loss streak anyway because I'm probably going to pop over onto his board and win a round periodically anyway. My board is waiting for one more Kale. I know Headwinder has another Kale about to show up. And look at this. He can actually go over to my board and get kills on my board too. You can see I already have Kale fully itemized with some pretty good stuff. But unfortunately, I was only level 5 with no 3-star Kale. But my board's about to come online. We're actually low health in the lobby right now, but my board's about to come online because I'm about to hit the Kale 3-star. So yeah, there we go. That's Kale 3-star, and then I'll be able to go level 6, and my board will start to take off at that point. For the moment, though, Headwinder's still just kind of chilling here, and he's just going to try to scale over time. It's interesting, though, I was trying to get to this point earlier. Crystal Gambit 3 can be played, as I said, it's like this big loss streaking trait, where you just lose like the first 9 or 12 rounds and try to get like this big cash out. But it doesn't have to be played that way. It can also be played as a trait where like you just try to cash out, or not cash out, but like try to win rounds and like print loot from Crystal Gambit 5. And I'd argue it's probably better played that way anyway, or at least it's a lot more reliable. But you can't really do that unless you get lucky because you can only play Crystal Gambit 5 if you get an emblem or if you hit the early Ash. Because remember, there's only 6 Crystal Gambit units. They are 1 cost, that's Syndra. Double 2 cost, that's Janna and Vi. Both of them are tanks. Then Swain, who's also a tank, although he does a decent amount of damage, but he's mostly a tank. And then you have Ash at the 4 cost tier. And then finally Zyra at the 5 cost tier. So really the only units that are there are carries, are the Syndra at the 1 cost tier, and then the Ash at the 4 cost tier. And Zyra is somewhat of a carry, but she's also kind of a support unit as well. By the way, look how long that Swain tanked. He just tanked forever in that fight. Ash also did a lot of damage as a 4-cost unit there. But long story short, you can't really play Crystal Gambit 5 unless you would get an early emblem, or unless you get the early Ash, and you're not going to hit early Ash very often. So it's more likely you play early Crystal Gambit 5 if you hit the emblem, which Headwinder was not able to do in this game, but he did hit the early Ash because he got 4 costs to drop on like the very first round of the game. Now it's time for him to pick something else. What's he going to go for here? Okay, he's going to go for the Rod. That gives him another Udyr, which is very nice. And it can also be a Rage Blade on Ash, which is also pretty good. Ash is very attack speed dependent. So Ash's ability is when Armada Bar fills up, she will fire additional arrows on like her next 8 auto attacks. something like that. So Rage Blade's a very good item on her. Red buff is good on her. Infinity Edge Last Whisper is good. The Striker Flail is good. I mean, pretty much anything that's AD based is pretty good. All right, now for this round, this was a double up gift round. And interesting. That's a good way to, by the way, that's actually a really good way to use the double duplicators. Headwinder does not care about 3-starring anything on his board. Like, he doesn't care about 3-starring anything. He's not going for reroll Janna. He's not going for reroll Syndra or something. He's just trying to get up to like level 8, level 9 as quickly as possible so he can play more 4 and 5 costs. So as a tempo play, he has a pair of Udyrs, he has a pair of Vi's. He just duplicates both of them. Really, really nice play there. All right, now the other thing is we had a gift round. Double up, you always get gift rounds on 3, 5, and 3, 6. One of the options was get a random 5-cost champion and 10 gold. And we took that option because there was a lot of good stuff there. If there was a Zyra, it would have been awesome for his board. If there was a Braum, it would have been really nice on his board as well. That would be Bastion trait to pair with the... to pair with the Swain. And like some of the other units would have been decent as well. He ended up getting a Varus, which does not fit the board for Headwinder, but it is a awesome unit to play on my board. And by the way, there he's going to get the first Crystal Gambit 5 cash out, and he also gets a cash out from Crystal Gambit 3 on the same round. So I'm going to get a Varus on the next round because I'm actually going to be playing 6 Juggernauts plus 4 Wraiths. I'm going to have Kale and Varus dual carries on my board. So anyway, going to get a lucky chest here. Gets the Kraken Slayer. That is a very good item on Ashe as well. Second power up. Can put it on pretty much any of these units. Is he going to take up... Actually, Colossal's a pretty good thing to take here. Would not be bad at all. He could just take the Varus off the board. Let's see what he's going to take. That would give Swain a lot of extra stats. Is he going to take Singularity? Okay, ends up taking Singularity. Actually, no. Is he going to reroll this power up? Become a 2-hex Singularity, deals 1% of health as magic damage every second. Well, if you're ever going to run it, that would probably be the time to do it. But he's just going to fish again for a different one. All right, a body double. Okay. At combat start, take the form of the nearest ally. So he's going to turn into Udyr at start. Interesting. And Udyr with just an absolutely insane amount of health. That's pretty funny. I don't know if that's like the best power up for Swain, but it's pretty hilarious seeing it. It looks like Headwinder was initially going to go into like 6 Juggernauts, but he ends up moving in a slightly different direction because my board is already playing 6 Juggernauts. We didn't want to have that much overlap in our comp. By the way, Ashe is doing a lot of work here, but unfortunately Headwinder is going to get reinforced on, so he can't beat both boards, unfortunately. Yeah, Ashe did 8,000 damage. It's a shame that Ashe is still a 1-star unit, but doesn't have too much hope of hitting Ashe 3-star unless he can get up to a higher tier. All right, so I really need that Varus, and fortunately, I'm going to get the Varus. Now, Headwinder really just needs to level and play better units. There's not a lot he could get. He could probably put he probably should try to just shove a Bastion unit on the board so that he can put Bastion trait in place for Swain. That'll give Swain a decent amount of armor and magic resistance. But for the most part, both of us are just in econ mode. We really just want to get to higher levels right now. Headwinder's board is going to scale really, really hard because he's going to keep getting more cash outs from Crystal Gambit. He needs to try to get up to the Zyra and maybe try to find an emblem. If you could find a Crystal Gambit emblem, that would be awesome. You have to find an emblem to play Crystal Gambit. You have to find an emblem to play Crystal Gambit. What's it called? 7. You can't get it just from the natural thing alone. He also gets a big gold drop. That was from his initial Prismatic Augment. Expect Unexpectedness. So he's going to go ahead and grab that. And now he has extra items. He has to kind of figure out what he wants to do with these. Probably should start making items for Zyra would be my guess. He actually has pretty decent ones. Yeah, Shojin Nasher's not terrible. Obviously, he doesn't have Zyra next, but that's probably the unit he's trying to build towards right now. And oh my goodness, the Zyra just literally pops out. I wouldn't have rolled on... I don't know if he was specifically rolling for Zyra or if Headwinder was going for something else here. I can't remember. Oh, you know what he was going for? He was going for more Ashes. That's right. He wanted to try to hit Ashe 2-star, but he hits the Zyra at the 3% odds. Okay, that's pretty disgusting. I was like, is this a Friday game? Our ongoing running joke is that on the Friday morning group games we do, Headwinder always seems to either high roll or just put some disgusting team together because he's really good at this game. But yeah, he's getting an insane amount of econ. His initial Prismatic has given him a lot of econ. It gave him that early Ashe. He's gotten gold from that a couple other times. And we're going to get one more Prismatic augment here as well. So he's got one more chance to get something good here in terms of his augment. And let's see, what are the options? Golden Egg, maybe, but no, rejects that. I don't think it's Trifecta. And then, Crystal Gambit. Okay, that will let him play 7 Crystal Gambit along with the Zyra. Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. That's going to be pretty freaking good. So now he can put Zyra on the board, and now he can put the Crystal Gambit emblem on somebody. He actually has 5 Crystal Gambit, 5 Juggernaut. He definitely should try to get the 7 Crystal Gambit in. I don't think that he particularly needs Mundo on the board. He got to get the Zyra on the board. Wait, doesn't he have a Zyra? Yes. Yes, he does. And then he has to move the items from Janna over to Zyra. So he does drop down to 3 Juggernaut here, but he doesn't really need Juggernaut trait that badly. Probably will want to cut one of the Juggernauts in favor well, he has to keep Udyr on the board. He could probably cut Set in favor of somebody like Braum long term. He doesn't really need Set on the board here. And I think he's still just rolling for 1 more Ashe right now. And then, yeah, does have to move the items from Janna over to Zyra. But anyway, now he has Crystal Gambit 7 in. And one of the things about Crystal Gambit trait is Crystal Gambit 5 actually is terrible in the data. Like, if you look at the average placement data, by the way, there is another Crystal Gambit 5 cash out, which just gave him a Mana Zane. That was a Crystal Gambit 5 cash out, gets the Mana Zane. Crystal Gambit 5 is really bad, but Crystal Gambit 7 is very, very strong. Very strong. Crystal Gambit 5, as I said, has average placement, I believe, of like 6 something. Yeah, I think it's like 6.2, which is just horrifically bad. But Crystal Gambit 7 is down to like 3.7. So yeah, it is a massive spike to go from Crystal Gambit 5 to Crystal Gambit 7. Again, and it's understandable why. You have to hit Zyra, who's a 5 cost, and you have to hit an emblem. So it requires hitting a 5 cost and an emblem. But if you can hit it, it is very, very, very strong. That's because Crystal Gambit 7, it increases all other bonuses by 150%. So whatever benefits you would have gotten from Crystal Gambit 3 with the stacking crystals, Crystal Gambit 5 where you stack up the kills, whatever benefits you get from both of them, they go up by 150%. It also gives all Crystal Gambit units 500 health and all Crystal Gambit units 30% damage amp. So, I mean, yeah, that's a lot. You get better cash outs. You get 30% damage amp. You get 500 health. So that's like almost a free Warmogs. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of benefits. So it's hard to hit, but if you can hit it, it starts to get really, really disgusting. I believe on this round we were trying to see if you could get the Zyra on the carousel, but no, it does not get the Zyra. Zyra with a Mana Zane is pretty disgusting. Zyra is basically like a pretty standard caster unit. The interesting thing about her is she gets this plant that you can put up on the board. And basically, if you put the plant in the front rows, it's an Alawi tentacle from set 10. And if you put it in the back rows, it's basically a Heimer turret from whatever set Heimer was when you put the turrets down. I think that was set 5 that happened. I think Headwinder's just getting ready to go to level 9 now. He hit the 2-star Ashe, which is kind of all he really needed to hit. And yeah, he can just kind of go from there. He could stay here and keep rolling, but there's not really any need to stay on level 8. I don't know what he'd be rolling for anymore. I believe he probably should just take out the set and put the Jarvan on the board. That would give him strategist trait. I think that would be better than 3 Juggernaut. He doesn't really need Set on his board here. Not that Set is bad, but like he already has Juggernaut trade in on Udyr and what's her name, Vi. And yeah, I think that putting Set in and then like putting Braum in on level 9 is probably better. I think he has enough damage between Ashe and Zyra back there. But yeah, you also notice all the Crystal Gambit units like start glowing and they start to look pretty funny over there. But now his board is getting stronger, and his board's only going to get stronger too because he's going to keep getting loot. Like he's going to keep getting the cash out from Crystal Gambit 3 every 3 rounds. And then remember, every now and then he's going to get the number of kills. What is it? Okay, right now it's every 22 kills. He gets bonus loot from Crystal Gambit 5 every 22 rounds. Or not every 22 rounds, every 22 kills. But I mean, he's killing like 7, 8, 9 units a round. So that's going to stack up like every few rounds. As long as he's actually winning them, he's going to keep getting those kills. So yeah. We're kind of cruising here. In case you hadn't noticed that, I'm on a longer win streak than Headwinder, and he's on a 4-match winning streak here. So we look like we're in pretty good shape, and I think he can just smoothly go to level 9 and then just, as I said, stuff more 4 and 5 cost units on the board. But I think his board is pretty solid here. That Swain still has like an insane amount of health on the board. And even these other boards, like this is the other person I think who has Crystal Gambit units in there. Yeah, they've got a Zyra on the board. By the way, that golden orb is once again his Crystal Gambit 5 cashing out over there. This one's somewhat close, but Swain is still alive. Ashe is still alive. So he got another artifact item. He's gotten 2 artifact items from this. And then he gets 2 4-cost units dropping as well over there. And then there's another cash out. Again, not a big cash out, but he gets another 9 gold there. Like, the amount of gold that he's getting is pretty insane. Like, he's level 9, what is he? He's level 9, level 9, 50 gold on 4/7. Anyway, and he's going to put this item, which is called the Indomitable. I'm not super familiar with this artifact item. I think it's just like a standard tank item. I believe this is the one where it if Swain targets an enemy unit in the back row, he pulls them towards him, and then it just gives a bunch of tank stats. But yeah, I mean, like, you can see what happens is like it just starts to get out of control. The amount of loot that Crystal Gambit trade is printing is like getting out of control here. There's just not a lot that like other boards can do. So now he's level 9, and like he can just kind of take his time and slow roll here if he wants. As I said, I don't think he really needs to be playing Nefiri on this board. I think there's better units he could be playing right now than the Nefiri. There's got to be something that's better than that can be played here. All right, well, he's actually rolling it down pretty aggressively. Well, there's a 2-star Lee. I mean, that's got to be better than something on this board right now. Is he actually going to play 4? Okay, he's actually going to play 4 Juggernaut. I'm still not sure exactly why Nefiri's on this board. I don't feel that 4 Juggernaut is that necessary to play here. I think 2 Juggernaut would be better personally, but it makes sense. I'm just not sure why the Nefiri is on the board. Surely Nefiri is not producing anything terribly useful for this board. And he's going to go ahead and make the Protector's Vow, which is probably going to go on a Jarvan eventually, because that's seen as being one of Jarvan's best items. There's Crystal Gambit 5 cashing out again. Anytime you see that gold orb popping out, that's Crystal Gambit 5. Okay, that one must have been a low kill count. That was probably like a 7 or 8 kill, because it only gave him a handful of kills, or a handful of gold there. All right, yeah, now the Nefiri is going to disappear off the board. Soul Fighter trade is not in play. That's the only reason you'd be playing this unit. And then Jarvan 2 also pops up on the board. So is there a way to get Jarvan 2 on the board? Yes, but something would have to come off. And yeah, that's just going to be another gift round there. Could also be grabbing Swains, honestly. Like, he could probably hit Swain 3 if he just keeps grabbing all these Swains. I'm not exactly sure what Headwinder's rolling for here. I think he was trying to find a Braum, because I think he wanted to play Braum on this board, but he didn't have much luck finding one. I believe that I was able to find a Braum, and I think I eventually sent him one. All right, there is a Braum. Okay, yeah, so he sold the Lee too, and then I was able to send him a Braum. And then I think he plays Jarvan. Yeah, okay. I think that makes way more sense. That I think is the board he wants to have. Gotcha. And he's also, by the way, on a 6 Udyrs. There's a 7th Udyr he can pick up here if he wants. So anyway, this looks better. I think that this is a stronger setup here, because there was really no need to go 4 Juggernauts just with this board. By the way, that Swain is not going to die. I know Swain is pretending to be Jarvan. And honestly, you might want to switch the power-up off of the Swain sometime soon, or at least pick a different power-up, because I don't think this one's that amazing. But yeah, okay, he's going to put the Udyr in his team planner. I believe I can't remember if I take the 2/5. I think I take the 2/5 cost here, because I was searching for some 5 cost units as well. And yeah, we're going to end up playing that. I still have a Cassante that's coming over here. And I think Headwinder's just like, all right, I'll go ahead and just pick up extra Jarvans, because he is going to be on. Oh, he went past a Jarvan there. Whoops, he could have had another Jarvan. That might have been nice. But he's holding another Varus for me. Did I hit? Oh, I hit the Varus too, so he doesn't need to hold a Varus for me. And what is he going to pick up? I don't think I need a Cassante anymore either. I can't remember if I still need that. But he hit the 2-star Zyra, so that's really nice. And yeah, he's just rolling here. All right, there's another Jarvan. He already went past 1 Jarvan, but he's going to be on 6 of them here. I don't think he really cares that much about Jarvan 3, but he might as well pick up Jarvans, because, like, why not? Still, you get the idea. Right now, Headwinder's on a 7-match win streak. I think I'm on like an 8 or 9-match win streak, and both of our boards are just like really strong. My Kale is hit level 9. I have a Radiant item on Kale. I think I have a Radiant red buff, and then I just have like a really tanky front line of Juggernauts that the enemy teams have to get through. Yeah, as strong as Headwinder's board is, I'm actually winning this round a little bit faster than he did. Me getting the early Varus from that gift round from Headwinder really took my board over the top. Like, that made my board super duper strong, getting that early Varus. Yeah, so there's another loot drop. I feel like I've said that a lot throughout this game. Headwinder's getting an awful lot of loot drops over the course of this game. He's going to take the Varus because he didn't have a heal cut on his board. Not that Sunfire Cape's an amazing heal cut, but it's better than what he's got, which is nothing. So, yeah. Good to have at least some anti-heal on the board over there. And both our boards are pretty much complete. I think I needed one more TF, just because I was randomly playing TF on the board just for lack of other stuff to play. All right, so he gets another gold cash out. There's a TF. I think Headwinder sends it to me here just because it'll make 2-star TF. And yeah, he probably could have had 3-star Swain in this game too if he'd gone for 3-star Swain. But rolled past a Jarvan, and Yeah, that would have been 9 Jarvans. That would have been 9 Jarvans. Yep. Ah, well. So anyway, going to move these items over to the Jarvan, then also put a power up on him. Let's see. Champions listed trade is 40% more effective. Probably should put these other items on Swain. Going to get some more tank items. Boom. There we go. So now Jarvan's fully itemized and Swain is almost fully itemized as well, but that's still a little bit sad. Could have had Jarvan 3 there, assuming the shop odds played out the same way, which they might not have. But yeah, he rolled past 2 Jarvans and ended up on 8 out of 9 Jarvans there. But it turns out that like this round's just over. He actually got 2 more loot orbs there from cashing out. But it doesn't end up mattering. We win there, and the game's just over right now. So, yeah. This game turned into a stomp. It was just a case of Headwinder getting Crystal Gambit 5 in really early, and it started to print loot. He was getting more cash outs from Crystal Gambit 3. And then when he got the emblem to put him up to Crystal Gambit 7, the game just got out of control. He was getting so much loot. The rest of the lobby couldn't keep up, and Headwinder actually could have had a 3-star 4 cost. It got really, really close, so... yeah, fun game. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad we were able to put the boards together, both of us. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for providing me with this footage, Headwinder. Until next time, hope you're all having a great week. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.